Just before this video starts, I want to thank the sponsor of the video, Adobe Express. More on that later in the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's video and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be speaking to you guys about my top tips for going into year 13. So I know a lot of you guys are doing your A-levels this year. I want to go over some kind of mistakes and lessons I've learned and tips that I did or tips that I wish I knew going into year 13. And the first thing I want to say is that the jump from year 12 to year 13 is arguably bigger than the jump from year 11 to year 12. The first thing you may be wondering is why? Why is the jump bigger? Like, you're already used to it. No, the jump is generally bigger because you have so much more to do. You have to learn new content as well as continue revising the old content from year 12, and you know, it's just a lot more things to juggle, so your time management really has to bear as you get into year 13. Content can become a lot harder. I feel like the year 1 content compared to year 11 content is harder than the year 13 content compared to the year 12 content. With these tips, I really think you guys can do well this year as long as you remain on track. So let's get into the first tip, and that is routine. As you obviously know by now, A-levels has a lot of information. A-levels isn't about being the smartest person. It isn't about making your own value and contributions to a subject. It's about just memorizing a lot of information and exam technique. So that means you need to develop a good routine. You need to stay on top of things. So I advise right now you start developing a good routine. I'm not kidding. You need to be revising from day one. Don't be like, oh, just, you know, exams coming up soon. No, start revising now. Get your routine down now. Me personally, I find I'm very productive in the morning. So during my A-levels and like leading up to exams, I was waking up at like 6 a.m. every day, getting revision done before school. That meant I had a nice start to my day. But if you know you work better in the evening, focus on that. The main thing is you just want to do it every day. You want to get that routine embedded. It takes roughly 27 days to form a habit. You need to be making sure that you're staying on top of your work and getting things done. If you're aiming for the top grades, so A's and A stars, I would say a good amount of hours to do be the amount of lesson time per subject. So if you do about 6 hours of biology lessons a week, do about 6 hours of biology revision a week. And then leading up to exams, you can increase that accordingly. Although hours are important, and you know, there's a correlation between how many hours of revision you do and the grades you get, using effective revision methods is even more important. Now we're going to move on to the second thing, which is in-class assessment. I think in-class assessment is an all or nothing kind of thing. Put in all the effort you can into in-class assessments, i.e. revise for them as if they were your actual A-levels, or don't really bother. I'm not gonna lie, there's no point in putting half the effort in. If you are gonna put effort in, put in all you can. If you're not, then don't, then at least see where you are without revision. However, putting in as much effort into the in-class assessments is so useful because it means your feedback is going to be tailored to you specifically and be even more valuable than it usually would be if you only put in half the effort in. Feedback is arguably one of the most important things your teachers do in school. You want to make sure that it's accurate, put in the effort, don't cheat in your mocks or something, you know, make sure that you're able to figure out the areas that you're weak in and figure out what to do with that. So based on the feedback your teacher gives you, focus on the areas that you didn't do as well in on the assessments. I know for a subject, especially like biology, you can know the course specification from back to front. You can know everything that you need to know for biology. However, if you don't understand exam technique and get good feedback from your test, then you're gonna not get the top grade. So take in-class assessments seriously. Make sure you get feedback and you actually digest that feedback and do something useful with it. So if you're struggling in a certain area, print off lots of questions and lots of revision to do with that topic. In the description, I'll leave resources for all the different subjects I did, some that I use and some that I think are really useful. So use that to develop your learning. The next thing I want to talk to you about is your personal statement. So if you haven't already started doing your personal statement in the summer, it's fine, don't worry about it. You can start now. Unless you're medicine or early applicants, then yeah, get on it now. However, if you haven't, there's still plenty of time. The first thing and the most important thing I'll say for this is just start, do something. I started off with mine by writing down all the things I'd done relating to the course I wanted to study at uni. So just making basically a big mind map of things I could talk about, magazines, podcasts, reading lists, work experience, etc, etc. Just get something down so you can get started. A personal statement is not something you want to be doing in the last 2 weeks before applications close. It's something that you want to add a little bit to every single week or even every single day. The more times you can go over it and digest what you've read, the more time there is to improve. So please don't leave this late. Start going through your personal statement now. And personal statement wise, I would also refrain from reading other people's personal statement. I could say it kind of throws you off almost by reading other people's personal statements. However, if you want to, I did read like a couple just to kind of get some idea of structure for the personal statement I'll be writing for my course. But refrain from this. Don't read your friends' personal statements either, unless you're like getting up to the deadline and you want to quickly check. Talk to your teachers about your personal statement. Talk to your exams officer and your careers advisor about your personal statement, because they'll give you the best feedback. And the quicker you start this personal statement, the more time you have to get advice on it, and the more time you have to revise it and make sure everything's good and it's up to the standard that you want it to be.
So if you don't already know what Adobe Express is, it's a fast, easy to use web app that you can try out for free today. It's something that you can be creative with by doing your own hobbies such as social media and working on things like your design classes, or you can even use it for things like school. One of the things that I would have used it for is the edit PDF feature. Obviously I do a lot of past papers, a lot of those are PDF, and sometimes you just want to be able to work on the past paper on your computer, and with Adobe Express that's possible. For example, if we just head onto the desktop side here, press up here, go straight down to the edit PDF feature. And now I can just drop in a past paper that I would like to work on, such as this biology paper. Now, for example, if I want to do this question, or if I've already done this question and I want to annotate, I can just go like that and start talking about what the question is asking me to do. It's just that simple. I think this would be really useful if you do a lot of past papers. I remember past papers is the best way to revise. Another thing that I really like about Adobe as well is that there's a whole library of stock-free images and sounds, so I could use it for things like social media. There's also the template that I can use for Instagram posts, and having all of this for free is just really useful. I think if you wanted to start a channel or maybe upgrade on your TikTok and Instagram skills, Adobe Express will definitely be the way to go. I think Adobe Express would be very useful if you're doing something like media or art, where these templates would be useful to you, and features such as the generative AI can help you come up with ideas for, paintings and sketches. Now, if any of this sounds interesting to you, check out the link in the description to try out Adobe Express for free on desktop right now. So check the link out in the description.
Talking about personal statements, it nicely leads on to my next tip, which is uni research. Start now. I mean, you should have already started in the summer, but it's fine, it's not too late. Start now, book open days. A lot of the open days are for end of September to beginning of October time, so there's still plenty of time to go to open days. Visit as many unis as possible. If you can't go to virtual open days, just make sure you're staying on top of your uni research. Write loads of pros and cons list. If you're doing a very popular course, it can be hard to choose unis because there's a lot of great unis in the UK. To get your top 5 down, you have till June next year to choose what uni will be your first and insurance choice based on whether they've accepted you or not. I would recommend getting on uni research now, just due to the fact that all the open days are like end of September, October, end of October time. You want to make sure you're getting down there if you can, because you don't really know what the uni's like until you're there. You don't know what the surrounding area is like until you're there. You want to get a feel for it, because this is the place you might be spending the next 3 to 7 years at. Make a good choice. Make a pros and cons list. Get on your uni research. I'd recommend just looking through things like Student Room, going on social media, go on TikTok and things like that. Look what people are saying about the unis. Talk to family friends, talk to mates who might be at the uni already. I know a lot of the London unis as well. If you can't find an open day, you can just go down there and do like a self-guided tour around it. So yeah, just make sure you're staying on top of the uni research. What you don't want is to get to January of not have decided what unis you want to go to. So personal statement in uni research, get on that. Dedicate a single day in the week or a couple days in the week when you're going to be doing the uni research and doing the personal statements, if you haven't done so already. If you have, great, and if you haven't, it's fine. You still got time now. I don't want to sound like absolutely everyone else. If you watched any other uni advice videos, then you would have seen that everyone says don't waste your free periods. Free periods are so important, and they're absolutely correct, but I'm just gonna say it again. Do not waste your free period. Look at me. Do not waste your free periods. It's so easy to do. In my school, my free periods were like 2.5 to 3 hours. So it meant that if you're wasting a free period, you're wasting a lot of valuable time. Don't get into a habit of it. I feel like this is the equivalent of like when everyone gives university tips, they always say like, don't skip a lecture because you'll make a habit of it. It's the same thing for free period. As soon as you like start, I don't know, going out to McDonald's or like driving somewhere or just, you know, playing cards, it's really easy for that to become a cycle and a routine. Like I said, we develop habits very quickly, so make sure you're not wasting your free period. Make sure you study in them, because it will become so useful, especially late in the year if your school offers study leave. You want to make sure that you're comfortable revising when you need to revise. Next thing I want to speak about is staying focused. So in year 13, I would say you grow a lot as a person. You are very different to how you are in year 12, or that's how I've seen it with a lot of people and myself. It means that you have to kind of remember why you're doing this. You know, you decided to go to sixth form in year 11 and you chose your subjects in year 11. You want to stay on track. You want to stay focused. People will also be doing a lot more things. People will be turning 18. People might start going out a little bit. I know in my area, a lot of people start getting licenses in year 13 as well. So there's a lot more to juggle in year 13, friendship-wise, relationship-wise, school-wise, university applications-wise. There is a lot to do in year 13. So you need to make sure that you're staying focused and that you're surrounding yourself with the right people. Next tip I want to give you for year 13 is revision methods. If you don't have a good revision method by now, what are you doing? What's going on? It's fine, don't worry about it. My channel, I have lots of videos about active recall and spaced repetition and how to use that to get good grades in your exams. But a good rule of thumb is, you know, pay attention to lessons, ask lots of questions, write down notes. Then when you get home, just do loads of practice questions on the subject. Pretty simple. For me, I had a pretty even spread of free periods to lesson ratio. So I would have like 3 hours of free periods for every like 3 hours of lessons or so, just about, maybe a little bit more lessons, but it was a pretty good ratio for that. So it means that when you're on the lessons, make the most of it so that you're not struggling when you get out of the lessons. If you have a question and if you're unsure about anything at all in the lesson about the subject and you need it to be explained to you, please, please, please ask your teacher, ask a friend, make sure you understand it right there, right now. Don't go home and be like, oh, no, I was fine, I'll go back to it, I'll revise over it. No, make sure you understand it in that moment, because it's gonna be so much more helpful for you in the long term. And it'll be so much harder for you to review that topic again in the long term when it's not fresh in your mind. Ask your teacher for help. Do not be shy. I know it's a bit annoying, but do not be shy. That's simple. Your teachers are there to help you. The last thing I want to say is enjoy it. This is literally going to be the last time you are in like a proper kind of full-time education setting. Obviously there's uni, but you go to different unis and it's very different obviously to regular school. So enjoy it, seriously, make the most of it. It will go by so quickly, and some of these people you see in year 13 you may not see for the next, like, I don't know, 10 years. So enjoy it, really do try to make the most of it. Year 13 is very fun, sixth form is very enjoyable. Just make sure you're staying focused and just make sure you're knowing and understanding the reason you are at school, and that is, you know, to go and do your apprenticeship, to go and do your uni degree. Remember, try Adobe Express for free on desktop now.